So, how did Tarkenton become a Giant? First, a little background. He was drafted by the Vikings in the third round in 1961 and came off the bench for quarterback George Shaw in Week 1. He passed for 4 touchdowns and ran for another in a stunning upset over the Chicago Bears. The starting job was his, and his head coach was Norm Van Brocklin, who was a 9-time Pro Bowler who not only won an NFL championship with the Rams, but also the Eagles during his last season, 1960, when he made first-team All-Pro and was the NFL MVP. Talk about going out on top. At age 35, he became the Vikings' inaugural head coach the very next year in 1961. Van Brocklin was a classic pocket passer who cursed like a salty sea captain, and his coaching style did not mesh well with Tarkenton, the son of a preacher. Tarkenton demanded a trade and was shipped to the New York Giants for 1967 first-round picks running back Clinton Jones and wide receiver Bob Grimm, 1968 first-round pick who ended up being tackle Ron Yeri, and 1969 second-round draft pick who ended up being guard Ed White. Tarkenton's new head coach was Allie Sherman, whose first 3 years with the Giants ended up in NFL title game losses in 1961, 1962, and 1963. He played quarterback in college at Brooklyn and was the Eagles' backup quarterback from 1943 through 1947. He previously coached some fine quarterbacks with the Giants and was a 2-time Coach of the Year award winner. Preceding footage is from the 1967 season, as are these scrambling, running, and rollout plays. Tarkenton ran for 306 yards in 1967 for a 7 yards average carry, the second highest of his magnificent 18-year NFL career. His 29 touchdown passes was a career high. His 3,088 passing yards were the most for him in a 14-game season, and he was the second-rated passer in the NFL. He had a great year, but the Giants did not, as they finished with a 7-7 record. The Giants scored the third most points in the NFL, 26.4, but their defense gave up the fourth most, 27.1. A quarterback can only do so much for his team. Tarkenton was knocked for not having as strong of an arm as some of the other professional quarterbacks, but Tark thought it was good enough. He said, "I can throw the ball 50 yards or so. How much longer do you need to throw it? Defenses typically don't give a quarterback enough time to throw farther than that anyway." Tarkenton threw an effective mixture of short, medium, and long passes that were primarily set up with a short passing game that lured defenses into tighter coverages. When that occurred, he switched to a deeper passing game. His completion percentage was always markedly superior to the league average, and he held the NFL record for consecutive pass completions with 13 in a 42-21 victory over the Rams in his 1961 rookie season. Tarkenton had an even better year in 1969 than 1968, but the Giants fared worse with a 6-win, 8-loss season. The Giants' defense was getting better as they finished 8th out of 16 NFL teams in points allowed, but the offense finished 13th in points scored. A major problem was the lack of an effective running game, as Joe Morrison was the team's leading ground gainer with only 387 yards. Tarkenton was forced to carry the entire offense on his shoulders. Head coach Alex Webster wanted to greatly improve on his 1969 first-year coaching record. Tarkenton had his 4th straight Pro Bowl year with the Giants in 1970 on the basis of 2,777 passing yards, 19 passing touchdowns, and only 12 interceptions. He finished 3rd in the NFL MVP voting, and the Giants turned it around with a 9-5 mark. The 1971 season was by far the worst year of his stellar career, and the Giants flopped to only win 4 games and lose 10. This field goal attempt early in Week 1 was a sign of how the year would be for the Giants. Oh sure, there were still some patches of Tarkenton brilliant play, but things were not chipper between him and Giants management. Per a February 7th, 1972 Sports Illustrated article, Tarkenton's dissatisfaction with the Giants began during the 1971 preseason when he asked for a $300,000 loan from them for business and income tax purposes, but was turned down. 2 days before the last game of the dreadful 1971 Giants season, Tarkenton asked to be traded, and he provided a list of 5 teams, all of whom were contenders. Although he had not missed so much as 1 quarter due to injury in his career, he did not play at all in the final game. Vikings reached a tentative agreement with Tarkenton on a new contract, and a trade was completed. Wide receiver Bob Grimm, quarterback Norm Snead, running back Vince Clements, a 1972 number 1 pick who was defensive end Larry Jacobson, and a 1973 number 2 pick who was linebacker Brad Van Pelt. Van Pelt had a terrific career with the Giants as he made 5 consecutive Pro Bowls. He had 18 interceptions, 13 fumble recoveries, and 19.5 sacks in 11 years with Big Blue. Standout defensive tackle Alan Page commented, quote, "Tarkenton is a good quarterback, but I don't think anybody's that good." Vikings general manager Jim Fink stated, quote, "We've asked a lot of Allen this year, but not for help in making trades."